This episode is about breathing, specifically oxygen advantage breathing and buteyko method breathing, which are extremely beneficial for health. Actually, I got into the oxygen advantage first because it was more sports oriented and more for the athlete on how to breathe, specifically through the nose. Both of them are predominantly nasal breathing. And the reason I like it is because it really helps you function in everyday life. You know, the athlete's important too, and the buteyko method for certain conditions. But when you can apply something to daily life, I think that's huge. And I think there's nothing more important than breathing because you need to do it, right? And another thing I always like about breathing, it's perfect balance. It's a perfect example. You have to breathe in and you have to breathe out. To me, that's beautiful, right? What better message than that? And when you do it the right way, when I say the right way, of course, what supports your body, but most of the time, most breathing, if not all, should be done through the nose, in and out through the nose. And, you know, that just helps with so many different conditions. Besides just relaxing a person, it brings so many healing benefits. I mean, just think about yoga and other breathing techniques that are whole systems designed around breathing and how powerful the breath is. The breath's way more than what we think. You know, it's our connection to life force. You know, you breathe in, who knows really what you're breathing in, right? Oxygen, this, that. But you're breathing in life force, right? Prana, chi, energy. And then you breathe out all of what we don't need. So it's huge benefit. And when you incorporate that to the chiropractic adjustment, before or after, and even during sometimes, I just think it takes it up to another level because it brings more awareness to the person. And they really start to value what we do as chiropractors. You know, how removing that spinal nerve interference and the energy blocks just help you function at a more optimum level. And that's what I like about this. It's something that, you know, and it's another thing too, you could take it home. I usually give people some specific exercises that I think will benefit their condition, and they could do it at home. And then they could see the difference. They could feel it. You know, nothing's better than your own life experience to make you believe in something, that it's helping you or not helping you. And that's one of the things I like about this. All right, we're talking about breathing here, right? And I'm being a little specific and a little partial, I guess, to Oxygen Advantage and Patrick McEwen, because I like his stuff. I like his information, and it's helped me tremendously. So I'm grateful for that. But basically, it's just breathing, you know? And not so basically, but it's not basic. Does that make sense, right? A little confusing. Confused myself there, but we need to do it. That's all you need to know, right? Stop breathing for a while and you faint. But it's still breath, right? So when I incorporate it, we're talking about specific breathing for your condition. Sounds, you know, a little different, right? What does that really mean? That means what I try to share with everyone, which I think is the most important, is to nasal breathe as much as they can. There's actually a dentist, orthodontist, wrote a book years ago. He traveled the world and looked at people, kids mostly, when they're sleeping. And the ones that were the healthiest and the most robust were all people who, during the night, breathed through their nose. The mothers would go around and shut their mouth if they were doing that. And there's tape you could use now, which has become pretty popular, to force you to breathe, you know, through your nose at night. And it works. Everything works. Orthodontists use it a lot for different conditions with the jaw and the teeth, and it helps. It's been around for a long time. But you got to keep in mind, it's more to it, right, than just taping your mouth and doing a certain technique. It's about making it part of your daily life. And nasal breathing should become more part of everybody's daily life, in my opinion, which, based on the results that I get with people and myself, I just feel better when I do it. You know, I do it more. And I think that's important to incorporate in a treatment. Breathing sounds simple, but how does it help you? In many ways. It helps the body relax, especially if you do nasal breathing. It puts you in what's called parasympathetic mode, which is relaxing, digestive. The other one is sympathetic, which is fight or flight, which most people are familiar with. That's more of a chest breather. And if you breathe out through your mouth, you do that. And that's just not good to be in all the time. We need it. We need all of this, you know, for balance and for longevity and health. And then the other thing it does is helps the body produce nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator. And what that means is it opens up the blood vessels, specifically the nose and other areas too, but you gain that benefit from nasal breathing. And another thing it does, it relaxes you, and then it relaxes the muscles, and then it helps your posture. Well, how does it help your posture? Because when you sit up straight and you're more, you know, relaxed, you notice your breathing changes. Stoop over and breathe. It's totally different than when you're sitting up straight. It makes a huge difference. And it's a good indicator, too, of, when you look at the person from a structural perspective, how the breathing affects your posture and how posture affects breathing. It's a combination. I do a lot of work with that with people with structural indifferences that affects their breathing. And it's worth looking into. It's beneficial. Some of the things that I focus on with the breathing techniques is, what a person comes for. Because people now are hearing a lot about the mouth taping and stuff. So they'll ask me, will I benefit from that? I snore, or I do this. And I say, it depends on how far down you are with the snoring and different things and what you're willing to do. But yes, there are definitely benefits and things I can help you with the snoring and other breathing issues like congestion and things like that. And it makes a huge difference. Even with headaches and some other things, listen, there's really no limit to what it can do, but you have to be aware of, there are limits too, depending on how serious your condition is and what you can do and what you're willing to do. So I see a host of different, symptoms and conditions that have benefited from this. And like I say, when you combine it all with the other things, it really makes a huge difference. I'm not tooting my own horn, but the combination is what makes it powerful. That's what sets me apart, the combination and being able to specifically tailor your treatment plan for what you need. So as I said earlier about just, everything is being holistic and all working together, Oxygen Advantage I find benefits most people. And I usually give you an exercise to leave with, a breathing exercise. And then sometimes I'll do a breathing exercise before we start the treatment, depending on where you're at when you come in. So it's something to consider as one of the benefits of care. And I'm happy to answer any questions about if you're a candidate or you think you would benefit from that being incorporated into your treatment plan. Do me a favor, follow us and like us on social media and visit our website, NewJerseyTotalHealth.com.